Hello, my name is Luke. Today I'm going to learn about how to improvise for somebody. So this is a concept that had never really even crossed my mind until I was studying improvisation in university. And, we would get up and improvise in front of the class and, work on different improv techniques and things like that. And then one time, somebody who was doing their master's degree in music therapy at a different university came. I was studying music performance, doing my undergrad. Came to sort of like be a TA in our class, like observe the class and teach a little bit. And the very first thing that she offered was pick somebody else in the class and improvise for them. And it was like such a twist for me, to improvise for somebody else. Like, what does that mean? And as a music therapist, that's what's happening. Improvising for a situation for somebody else's benefit. So this particular improv, this was the 6th Facebook live stream that I did, and this one, my intention was to create music, to improvise as a welcome to the world offering to a good friend of mine's little baby. She had just had a little baby, and maybe 10 days before this or something like that, and had been posting photos on Facebook. And I took one of the photos, and actually that's where I'll start talking about how I approach this. So, I was thinking, okay, so welcome to the world improv for a baby. I got my guitar. I was doing some mellow kind of, stuff. And I thought, you know what, I need to have a picture of this baby. So I went onto my friend's Facebook and brought a picture up and posted it on a different screen while I went live. And as soon as I saw it, it's like I could tune in to the delight of witnessing this beautiful little being, and that music come through that was like an expression of tenderness. It's me reaching out and being in relationship. So I'll explore that quality. I think that's the real beauty of improvising for somebody. It's a great way to get out of the is this good enough, da 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 da, and just into relationship. I'm looking up because I've got the picture on a higher screen. So that thing that I'm playing there, the baby's name is Indy, and as soon as I looked at the picture, that came to me. So I actually knew it before I started this video. And it's like watching this, I can see that once that is established and I have the loop going, I'm settling into it, and I'm resting into what I feel is like Indy's world. Whether Indy feels that or not, that's how I feel Indy's world. Indy's world via Luke. which is to me kind of a neat thing to have music come up through me that says this is a space that this person, this is this person's world from my perspective, and to be in that place with them. So this video, I didn't realize it when I set out to do it, but making this one where I'm talking about it, I had this sense of, I want to do this video to learn about the topic, not necessarily to teach about it, which is how I initially thought of these videos, like this is me teaching how to improvise, but this is me learning how to improvise by watching these videos where I'm improvising, putting it into words. And how I see the connection to this particular music that's coming through, as I'm sitting here watching myself, I can see myself learning. I'm looking at her picture and I'm learning about this world that she lives in. And I'm loving it. I just want to point out something there. So I did this I'm moving around some different shapes there. I love the way those are playing off each other. Those they're kind of all clicking together. It reminds me of like kora music from Mali. Like where there's, it's in a major key and it's a lot of interlocking things falling in at different times. And as a listener now, I'm like, oh, there's a freshness there. I like that, when it goes up. And as a player, I am sure that I had the same experience and was like, oh, I'm aware that the video is cutting off my hands. This sounds good, probably looks good too. I want to show it. So that is like, it's interesting. It's like there, it stops in some way being about Indy, who I'm playing for, and kind of savoring the sounds of her world. And it's this moment of self-consciousness of like, oh, I'm playing something kind of neat here. That is a cool lick. Okay, I want to lift my hands up so that people can see what I'm doing. And, as like another way that people can engage with what I'm offering. But I noticed too, there's like a little burst of energy that comes from that. I'll just show it again. it was like my hands just did it, and I looked down. Whoa, that was cool. And then okay, let's feature these hands a little bit, and it gave me a little burst of energy. Um, yeah, and what is I guess as that happens, um, there are different stories that want to be put on there. But when I think about this music is being made for this little baby, um, there's a little burst of joy that comes through in discovering my hands, which I think of as, or like discovering what I'm capable of, um, which I think of as like so much what a little baby's world is. I mean, I think developmental psychologists say that that type of self consciousness of becoming aware of what they are capable of doesn't happen for a lot longer, till a lot later in their development. Um, but anyway, there's something in her world about this. So a couple of things I noticed there. Um, One is the desire to keep showing my hands, like I have my guitar lifted up there for the first part of that. And I this idea of it being for someone else, um, I'm aware of that. I do a lot of sessions over Zoom, and I'm aware that showing my hands is important sometimes, or I'm aware that that's intriguing to people, whether they play guitar or not, but just like, as something to connect. And if they do play guitar, then they probably especially want to see my hands. Um, and then there's this spot where I play a note that didn't flow and feel in the vibe the way that I thought it would. That one. And then there's this feeling that comes in now, and I can sense it there too, like, oh, uh, that kind of disrupts the feeling of this. And I'm curious about that. Um, what that what that is, beyond the regular um, oh, I messed up or whatever, like this idea that I'm straddling today is that music has this intelligence, and whatever comes through is trustworthy. It's a communication. It seems like especially so when I'm tuning into the world of a very, very mysterious being. And I say very, very because this is like an 8-day-old or 10-day-old infant. Who knows what's going on for them? Who knows what they need? I'm thinking of past lives even. Um, who knows what they're bringing in? What feels important to them. And so that note has this energy about it for me, and maybe because I'm identified as the player, like, oh, I've messed up, there's this energy, but maybe that note just has that energy and I'm feeling it and then putting a story on it. Oh, maybe I messed up, maybe whatever. But maybe that energy was just right. Maybe that's what baby Indy needed. It's kind of like, who am I to say what needs to be in her world? The other thing I see here is that now I'm looking at the picture again, and I had, sorry, my hand camera fell over momentarily. I had stopped looking at the picture and was getting quite interested in my own hands. And that sound, maybe it was music's way of saying, oh, back on track, pay attention to the baby, which is so beautiful. Like I'm being treated like a baby too. Oh, attention over here, that kind of thing. Yeah, really loving force at play here. It's a baby that wants to party a little bit. This is something I've learned from working with a lot of clients. Like clients, all across the board as a music therapist, people who are palliative, they're 98 and they're laying in bed and they're going to die, 2 days later or something like that, to little tiny children, to all different types of people, is never, I know for me a tendency, and I've seen it in other music therapists too, is to play, what's a baby? Okay, just like sweet little gentle. But that might not be the energy that's wanting to come through. I've been surprised so many times when I'm engaging with someone and it's like I'm feeling the impulse to bring through something that's like seems incongruent with what I project onto this person, and then I let it through and it's like, yeah, I get that response. And I've had that from people. I remember this one woman, she was almost catatonic. She would sit in a wheelchair and just kind of look straight ahead, sometimes smile, and that could just go on for a long time without her really acknowledging anything. Sometimes she would just say a word, and she was a medical doctor, so I assumed that she liked jazz and classical music. She was in her early 90s. And so I was playing some jazz, and she I started into something like that, and she did a little nod or a little smile or something like that, and then I was soloing on that kind of thing, and sort of keeping it toned down. We're in a nursing home, and she's kind of listening, and then there was a time where I sort of just really felt into the energy and really let it get wild, and she went, yes. Like that's what she'd been needing. And if I had thought of what type of music would be good for this person, it would have been so gentle. She's a very quiet, very elderly person, but that energy that wanted to come through, that music was saying, let this through. When I let it through, whoo, she really responded to it. Oh, how your mama must sing to you. Oh, how she sings in your ears. Oh, how your mama must sing to you. How she sings in your ears. So that part, her mom is someone I know. She's a music therapist too, and I worked with her a little bit, and that means like overlapping, her taking over some clients that she'd been working with, and she's just got an incredible voice, like a voice that just, as soon as I heard it, whoa. I got her to sing on some of my original stuff that I was working on at that time, and that's what this bigger music brought through, of like, oh wow, like this is a baby who knows music, who has music when she was in utero, and has music now that she's in the world. So I'm kind of feeling the immensity of having that type of sound around. Oh yeah, her voice is ready for you to sing your glories every day, little Indian. Oh, how her voice is ready for you to sing your glories every day. There's like this, so I'm feeling it here. I remember kind of filtering my words. They just wanted to like explode with, oh my God, I love you so intensely. Oh, so immense. And so it's like I'm feeling that impulse to just blast this baby with adoration. And because this is not my baby, it's not someone I've met. I have this person whose child this is. I know her pretty good, but not that well. I've only known her for a couple years at this point. So I think that's, doesn't seem appropriate to have that, but the feeling is there. And so I'm like, oh, how your mama must just, like her mouth is meant to be showering words down on you. So that's what I'm putting into words here. So even though I didn't quite get into the fullness of the expression that wanted to come through. I kind of named it. Oh, I can feel so much here. Whoa, and in some way it was like that was an invitation for her mom to really let it fly. And I posted this video on her Facebook wall, and then, I don't know when it was, whenever she saw it in the next day or something, sent me clips on her over text of filming her with her baby strapped to her front, singing, and the baby going, ah. And she said when the baby was listening to it, she started to make sounds with her voice. And the mom says, I'm drenched, because she was crying so much and her thing that holds the baby was covered in tears. And that impulse that wanted to come through of them singing together and being in that together was set in motion with this video. Not to say they hadn't been doing that, but that it was like amplified with this tuning to the baby's world. So I'm gonna leave this one there for now. I like this theme of watching this to learn, and that's really the thing about playing music for someone else. It's about learning what their world is, and the mechanics of how to do that. It's so much about the heart, the place that can tune, part of the body that can tune to someone else, and then being open to receive the music that wants to come through